WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, X, and our website, www.wvtcdetroit.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users.
You're building the empire,
and we'll help you protect it.
Because even the most powerful women
still have trust issues.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Trust Issues. This is the podcast where money meets mindset, legal meets legacy, and power meets protection. Yes. I'm Ericah Hall, financial advisor at EH Wealth Advisors, and I'm here with my sister.
Yes, my sister, Urenia Ricks Johnson from Ricks & Associates, PLLC, and I'm so excited to be here today. We are going to really tackle this big, beautiful bill. We started it, right?
Yeah, breaking it down.
Breaking
it
it down.
Big breakdown.
Yes.
Bill breakdown. So we're just talking about wealth. We're talking about how to protect it, because you do all that work to build your, I'm calling it an empire, kingdom, whatever it is that you're building, and we just want to make sure that you know how to protect it.
That's true. That's true. And specifically today, we're pulling back the curtain on something everyone needs to pay attention to, right?
Right.
Especially our elders, caregivers out there, and Medicaid recipients.
Yeah, I'm so glad we're starting with this one.
Yeah.
I wanted to start with this one because everyone has been talking about the medical benefits, the changes to Medicaid.
Yep.
Medicaid, Medicare, and sometimes we use the words interchangeably, but they're not the same.
They're not the same.
That's not the same.
And I'm sure you get a lot of those questions, and I know I get it as estate planning.
Yeah.
A lot of times, what do I need to do to qualify for Medicaid? How is this going to affect me if I have to apply for Medicaid?
Yes.
Or just Medicaid in general, whether you're, like I said, whether you're a caregiver, if you are getting older, you're concerned about Medicaid. Just in general, Medicaid is a hot topic. And today we're going to uncover it because the big, beautiful bill covers Medicaid.
Yes.
In the bill.
Yeah, they're talking about it. They're restructuring. But just to clarify for everyone who wants to know the difference between Medicare and Medicaid,
Please.
Right? Medicare is for senior health care. Mm-hmm. It's senior care. When you turn age 65, you become eligible for Medicare. It's an out-of-pocket cost to you.
So when you say out-of-pocket, what does that mean?
That means that there's premiums. There are premiums that the individual has to pay,
okay,
right? As well as you have different parts like Part A, Part B, Part C, different parts that can cover your doctor visits and your hospital stay, as well as your prescription drug costs, things like that, or even supplemental for special procedures, okay. Or if you find yourself where everything isn't covered, you have some supplemental coverage. All right. That's out of pocket. That's for those who are age 65 and older. Now we have Medicaid, which is a government subsidy. It's a social welfare program that provides health care for people in need of all ages.
Okay.
All ages, from the youngest to the oldest. And what it does is it helps to supplement for those who may have some benefits, but they need health care for their children.
So they could ideally have Medicare and Medicaid.
They could.
To cover some expenses.
You could.
Okay.
It could be a combination.
Okay.
It could be a combination of the parent having Medicaid and the children having the CHIPS. Here in Michigan, we call it CHIPS. And so there is a difference between Medicare and Medicaid. The big, beautiful bill is going to affect them both in some kind of way. But today we're going to focus on Medicaid.
Medicaid, yes, because it's that government subsidy. So it would make sense that the government would cover it in this big, beautiful bill. So let's break it down and make it simple. Medicaid is critical for millions, as we talked about this subsidy, so it's critical for millions of individuals that may, even if they have Medicare, this Medicaid changes may still affect them.
Yeah.
But it comes with strict rules. There are income and resource limits just to qualify. So Medicaid has qualifications.
Yeah.
Medicaid may help pay for nursing home or in-home care. So it helps to supplement or helps to make sure that individuals have those expenses paid.
Yeah.
But after you pass, the state can come for your assets. That's called estate recovery. So, I practice it in estate planning for individuals. And you also have to understand that some of the assets of the estate could be touched because if that person received Medicaid benefits.
Yeah.
So just understanding that the big beautiful bill, the new bill, asset limits could rise or include more exemptions, like your home.
Yeah. So the home is a big piece of it because many people, if they don't have anything else, they have their home. And one of the things that I was hearing about the provision of the bill, looking at the value of the property, even if you have so much equity in your home, that's an asset. As you talk about asset recovery, that's an asset that could be considered when it comes to looking at that. And so that's why in estate planning you do something like elder care planning.
Yeah, we do elder care planning.
Yeah.
We oftentimes, if we need to shift or move property around,
yes,
based on the fact of the ownership,
yes,
we can do those things in estate planning. All that is about estate planning and those moves. There are different individuals can buy different supplemental care policies or things like that to avoid, if they don't necessarily want. It's some people that just like, I just don't even want to have to deal with Medicaid.
Yeah,
there are some estate planning tools for that. But if you have to deal with it, there are ways that you can protect your assets. There are ways that you can own them.
Yeah, you're saying. I just wanted to hop in and just say it again, because that is the difference between hiding assets, right? This is legal.
It is.
Elder care planning.
It is.
Is
you can
legally
move them around legally.
Repositioning your assets to qualify.
You can legally do that. And those are things that, especially because we talk about with trust issues, building your legacy.
Right.
And a lot of times people don't understand that estate planning is legacy planning.
It is.
So it's
so
planning
responsible
to actually make sure that even though you want to have the great quality of life, you want to make sure that the next generation after that, still has a great quality of life based on the decisions that you've made.
You make now.
And if you've repositioned your assets, or if you've positioned your assets that if you have to receive Medicaid and that assistance, but it does not prohibit the quality of life for the next generation.
Correct.
Then you're doing some great things.
But
Medicaid, it will allow you some strategic estate planning will allow you to do those things.
Yeah, that's good. And it helps you to do it while you still have the capacity, the mindset,
right,
to make the decision instead of it being reactive.
Instead of being proactive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And establishing those things now, because Medicaid does have what is called a look back period.
Right.
So during that look back period, then if we reposition or legally transfer assets, we're talking about doing these things legally, then it can be challenged by Medicaid in some way.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important, like you said,
do it early.
Yeah,
do it early.
And you have those planning things in advance, so then that way you can make sure that even during that look back period, if it comes to that, that you're well beyond that.
Yeah, you're well beyond that 5-year period. And we even have Medicaid friendly or approved investment vehicles, right?
Legally. Investment
vehicles that are Medicaid approved, investment vehicles that you can use, like the product or the investment product has been set up for the case or the time when you may need to use Medicaid.
And Medicaid, and people don't understand when it comes to, it's not the fact that Medicaid wants to take all of your assets. It's called a spend down provision. They want to make sure that if they're giving you this assistance, that you have exhausted certain assets in order to make sure that you are using those assets to pay for your care.
Yeah.
Right? But if you can shelter them or reposition them where those would not have to be used and still be able to benefit from the government assistance, that is an option.
Right.
Because
Definitely.
you want to make sure that you're still building a legacy. Just because you have to receive this assistance doesn't mean that you can't still build your legacy for you and your family.
Oh, no. It should be a part of your planning.
Exactly.
That's the prudent part. So now that this bill has passed and it's going to reshape access to Medicaid, how long-term care or just all of that planning comes into place, and how your family may need to consider. Let's talk about a little plain and simple, and just talk about how Medicaid is, because we know it's critical, and there are some new provisions as far as qualifying for it and all those kinds of things. Because with the income limit, like I know that if you have a family member who's living in the home, you can own one vehicle.
Right.
Right. Do you know how that estate recovery works if you have someone still living in your house?
So you mean from the Medicaid perspective?
Yes.
So as far as the spin down?
Yes, the spin down provision.
Okay. So if you have someone else living in the home, and depending upon if it's jointly owned property, you may be able to qualify that as exempt under the code.
Okay.
You may be able to qualify that because it's not just individually owned by the person that is seeking Medicaid benefits.
Right.
So sometimes owning property jointly can be a benefit to you because Medicaid is only able to touch property that's solely owned by that individual. So sometimes the jointly owned property, that's a part of estate planning. Sometimes you can jointly own property, and that may help you when it comes to the estate planning perspective and even or the Medicaid perspective.
Yeah.
And also when we think about, if we want to actually, from the ownership perspective, if you, like I said, if you jointly own vehicles, if you jointly owned, if you have investment properties, if you put those properties within a trust.
Are you serious?
And not actually owned by, because it's not actually owned by that individual. It's within a trust.
Wow.
And people that want to go even further can actually put it in an irrevocable trust, because there are certain information within the tax code that allows you to exempt or not be a part of the spin down if you have it in an irrevocable trust,
because,
as opposed to the revocable trust, because of the fact that that can't be changed. The irrevocable cannot be changed at all.
But the revocable, you can take it back.
You can take it back.
But by it going into the irrevocable,
it's in there.
You can't take it back. So by you not being able to touch it means that it qualifies.
It qualifies. So you can put those things aside and put those in things as far as ownership. And that's the reason why it's important to have those conversations and have those trusted individuals around you that can help with this planning process.
Definitely. Because it
is a labor of love, and it's a labor of trust as well, because at that point in time you are really giving your assets to someone else in order to manage, to make sure that you're taken care of, and that your family is taken care of.
Oh, definitely.
So it's definitely that labor of love, and you have to have that trust, in order to do that.
And it ends up saving you in the long run.
It does.
And it ends up saving you. You've done some prudent beforehand planning. You've taken advantage, because when you think about it, what I was surprised to find out was that a lot of the wealthy individuals, they know how to disposition assets to qualify for some of these social support
and the
services.
Policies that they invest in. To get tax-free distributions. That would not qualify as income under this, because Medicaid also has income requirements, as we talked about. But there are certain distributions under the tax code that is not considered income.
What kind of distribution?
So for example, if you invest in some qualifying life insurance policies or policies that have a certain amount that you can withdraw from on a yearly basis that you've built up cash value with, those may not be able to be considered income when it comes to if you take money out of that for distribution. So technically, if you don't have any income, but if you are and you're receiving the Medicaid benefits, but you take a distribution out of this thing that you've had stored up for all these years,
Right, you didn't just put it in the last 5 years.
Yes, because the distribution has been sitting there. So you haven't touched it. You've let it store up. So for times like these where you need the Medicaid benefits, but you need to have everyday expenses taken care of.
Right.
Where you can take money out of this distribution where it's not considered income and to make you no longer qualified for Medicaid.
Oh, that's good planning.
So storing those things up, but that's all about the planning. Those all about planning tools that you look at when it comes to, and these planning tools are, guess what? They're in the bill because they provide exceptions to the rules when it comes to Medicaid and qualifications and what they can actually look at it when it comes to income. So in this bill, it says this is what's considered income.
Yeah. And it tells you right up front.
Prudent people will look at it and say, well, if I'm receiving this distribution, this is not considered income. So if I'm receiving $10,000 a month from this distribution, from this insurance company, annuity, or some type of distribution where you stored up funds over a period of time.
Okay. Yeah.
Right, where you've been prudent to understand that, I may have to, qualify for Medicaid because we know that elder care is very expensive.
Yeah. It's
very expensive.
Long-term care insurance.
Long-term care insurance.
Yeah, it has become cost prohibitive.
Yes.
Although it's a great benefit, it's a great benefit to have. But it's so expensive because nursing home care, in-home care, all of those healthcare services are so expensive that you're going to need some kind of planning beforehand to make sure that you don't do a drastic spend down of your assets just for your health care.
That's so true. And it's so important that you plan these things early and understanding that, there are special needs trusts. There are different things that ultimately fit your need. If you have someone in your family that's special needs, that you want to make sure that that's on within this trust during their lifetime and it continues to go on, or you have minor children, if you have minor grandchildren, that you want to make sure that most people build generational wealth through this document of trust. And we hear trust funds all the time, right? But that's because someone a long time ago set up a trust.
Yeah.
And it's been continuing to go on from generation to generation.
That's good. That's how you stop having trust issues, when you are educated, informed, and you've done some pre-planning.
Yes.
Some planning ahead of time.
Yes,
so
definitely.
let's talk a little about strategy.
Okay.
Talk strategy a little bit. So if we were looking at some situations, just because you're on Medicaid doesn't mean that you have to have your assets vulnerable. And so you talked about, doing an estate plan. What are some things that folks can put in place? Just a few things you can list that people can put in place to help them prepare.
Definitely having within your estate plan, you need to make sure that you have a power of attorney and a medical power of attorney, because if there is a decision about the assets and the Medicaid part of it, you want to make sure that you have someone trusted to make those decisions for you.
Okay.
And as far as to make healthcare decisions, to make everyday decisions for you when you can. Because if you have had those things lined up before you actually need Medicaid, or even if you're about to get to that point, you've had those conversations, or you need to have those conversations. Okay, this is the assets that I do have.
Yeah.
And what can I do to protect? I want to make sure that my family still receives my house.
Yes.
I want to make sure that they still, but I understand that I need these benefits because the hospital bill is $8,000 a month and we can't afford it.
Yeah.
Or the in-home care is $5,000 a month and I'm only bringing in $2,000 a month.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
But I have this home that I live in and I don't want to give it up. Or you may even have an investment home, but you want it to go to your family members.
Yeah.
You want it to go to your family. You don't necessarily want to give up that because you could feel like those are inheritances for your children.
Right.
Right.
So you talked about how you name or you title or hold property, a ladybird deed, could that help you?
That would definitely help. That would definitely help because you can own the property during your lifetime, and then you would leave it. So it's a ladybird or a beneficiary deed in some states where it's called, where you actually own the property during your lifetime. But if something happens to you, it goes to, it's a beneficiary interest on the property.
The property, yeah.
Which means that when you show this to Medicaid and they say, well, you got this house, you can say, well, it's not really mine.
Yeah,
even
you're
though I
benefiting
can,
from the property.
there's someone else's name that's on this property.
Yeah.
Or you
That's
can
good
have
to
it,
know.
or you can have it jointly. Like if a family member is there taking care of you,
Yeah.
and you trust that person, you can also do it where you actually still jointly own it with the right of survivorship.
Yeah.
Where you can
on the title of the asset is so important.
It is.
Putting the beneficiary on maybe the ladybird deed. You can put the property in trust.
Yeah, so those are just ways to make sure you protect it. And then, like I said, the earlier you do it, the better.
Yeah.
Because there is that, we have to, give you that disclaimer that
look back period. I remember when that started.
Is that 5 years.
Yeah.
And if we really want to lobby, we really should be lobbying our legislatures to say, because I really think that look back period should not be
too
there.
long.
I just think that
I remember when it wasn't there.
Yes, and when it wasn't there, and and most of the time when you have people that need these benefits, because as I stated, our healthcare system, and that's another whole nother story for our for here in America is outrageous.
We should have universal healthcare.
It's outrageous what we have to pay to take care of each other when it comes to from a medical perspective.
Yes.
So the fact that people have to spend their life savings just to live.
My doctor just quit. She just quit. And I think she was the best doctor I've ever had. She quit. She quit the system. Okay. At my last visit, she says, I just want to let you know that I'm leaving the group office because the burden that comes from being under this healthcare system that I'm in is unrealistic. They require us to see like 1,500 patients per doctor or something like that. It was like a huge number.
Just to stay in the group.
Just to stay in the group. She said, so I'm getting out the system.
I'm getting out. I'm going out.
She said, if you want to come. I said, but then I have to pay out of pocket because she's not in the system.
Right.
It's crushing the doctor.
Yeah, and that's the truth that happens every day when it comes to our healthcare system. So we are trying to give you practical things that'll help you to work with the system. We can, unfortunately, at this point, we can vote 2026, yes, for the legislatures and let them know what's important to us to change. But we have to understand that now this bill is here.
It is.
What can we do to be proactive? And the first proactive thing you need to do is make sure that you have some type of plan, that you've planned these things out. You have a plan, because if you don't have a plan, you plan to fail.
Yeah. And
you fail to give your family a clear guide to what you want, and you fail to make sure that your wishes are carried out.
And you have to recertify. Every it says that every year they're going to have to recertify, as well as there's some work hours that's required.
You mean for the SNAP for those benefits?
Yes.
Yes. So those are things that are important right now as well, because those benefits that used to be just there, or just even you think about the additional benefits that people had even during COVID time, and then now some of these things there's more work requirements, and I have
80 hours of volunteer time or work time.
And you also have to understand too that you have individuals that are receiving these benefits that have small children.
Yeah.
So I understand that, and there are some waivers. So just listen, there are some waiver requirements. So you can actually waive that work experience, that work requirement as well, but you have to go through that process, because I feel for individuals that have small children and having to do those work, because you really have to to decide on whether you can't afford because you're paid for daycare.
Yeah, and that burden is going to be beyond the state. But let's be clear, we know that Medicaid is a lifeline.
It is
for individuals, and so one wrong move, missing a recertification, and you lose your benefits.
Yes,
that's true. That's scary. So we want to make sure that we are being meticulous. We're planning ahead. We're staying in the know, because we don't want to find ourselves on that losing end of much needed health care.
That's so true. That's so true. So yeah, let's recap. Let's do a quick recap. If you know someone, or if you someone that you know or love is on Medicaid, here's what they can do now. Yeah. Review your Medicaid case every year. Don't transfer property without getting legal advice.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's so important. Use the tool, as we talked about, the Ladybird deed or the beneficiary deed, or even an irrevocable trust may be a benefit to you. So making sure that you get that legal advice. Talk to my sister here, a financial advisor, before accepting any new funds. Because a lot of times we may get the benefit of things, but we don't understand how that may affect us. Speak up. Contact your state reps and advocate for protection in this final bill. So just know that this is at the federal level, but even at your state level, because a lot of things are now being passed on to the states during this with this bill.
Yes.
So we can understand that we talked about this in 2026, there is upcoming elections. So we need to pay attention to where do our representatives fall.
Oh yeah, we want to know.
Align with our beliefs and what we need.
That's going to be so important how they vote on these issues, the decisions that they make, because they even talked about those waivers that you mentioned. That the crackdown is going to be on the state to not give out so many waivers.
Exactly.
And I was reading that there's even a work requirement and volunteer requirement for Medicaid recipients. And the cutoff was age 54. If you were over the age of 54, then it didn't apply to you. Now that age is being moved up to 65.
Wow. And can you imagine making someone, especially if there is a disability there, if there is something that they've just been qualifying, just to make sure that they have, because Medicaid is for emergency. Most of the time it's for emergency or critical services that you would normally not even need to have, but you need to have these services, right? So the requirement of making them to do something in order to, and then actually having someone, because if I'm disabled or if I'm not able to do that, having someone that you've designated that is able to advocate for you.
Right.
That's the reason why those documents that I talked about, the power of attorney, the medical power of attorney, the having that trust and having a successor trustee in place to make sure that you have somebody that's there to help you and to help advocate for you when you don't have a voice. These documents help you to make sure that you have a trusted voice.
I think about how I will depend on my children. And I'm like, I hope I make sure they get this information.
Right.
Because sometimes they're listening, like our letter. We had a letter. I don't know if we got time to read it today. Sometimes they're there, they're listening to what you're telling them, and then other times they're like, oh, Mom, you're going to be okay forever. You're going to be all right. So, we got this letter, this real life.
Okay, go ahead, read it real fast.
Yeah, so this is Miss Rosa, 74, on Medicaid, living in the family home. She just got a housing improvement grant under the bill, and her daughter wants her to sign over the house to her before Medicaid takes it. And so what would you tell her?
I don't necessarily think that she needs to do it that way. I think that she could do what we talked about would be the Ladybird deed or the beneficiary deed. Understanding if the daughter, there's a lot of considerations with, I would not just do it based on the Medicaid part of it. And because she received the grant, I would do it if the daughter's living there, if she can trust, that the daughter would take over the house and do what she needs to do with the right of survivorship.
Right.
If there's any questions and she's not living there or anything like that, then I would do the Lady Bird deed or the beneficiary deed.
Yeah.
I wouldn't just do it based on, okay, let's quickly do this because of Medicaid.
Yeah, no planning.
You want to make sure that you have it well planned and thought out. We don't want to make hasty decisions.
Right. And lack of information means, I mean, there are some improvements that you could use that grant for that are qualified improvements, like medical improvements to the house. If you needed a new roof or a generator for emergencies because you may have some medical equipment at the, that you need power for. And so lack of information causes us to make bad decisions and in haste. When you have an estate planning attorney, elder care planning, who can arm you with all this information so you can position yourself to qualify.
And guess what? If she was to transfer it to her daughter and receive this grant, she could be in jeopardy of having to pay that grant back because she no longer owns the property.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So by having the Lady Bird deed or the beneficiary deed, there's no transfer at that time.
Right.
It just means that it's an estate planning tool.
Right. It's
which
in
would
place.
not trigger anything that happens. But if she makes it joint and the daughter does not live there, that may put in jeopardy. So if the grant pays for a new roof, imagine the mom now having to pay that back.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Putting yourself in a predicament that's unnecessary.
Unnecessary.
Yeah.
Because you've heard these and got scared about Medicaid and you're not educated about it.
Yeah.
But we hope that we've provided you with some information to help, though.
Yeah,
help people like Miss Rosa and her family, right?
Yes. Thank you for sending in the letter, Miss Rosa.
Thank you.
And I just want to say I was laughing to myself because I was thinking about some of the things just this week in working with some clients who they tried to do some things on their own, and some of the things that they tried to do was a little underhanded. But once they finally came in, and we started working together, and I was able to. They saw that if you do it the right way, with information,
right,
that and little planning, proactive, you're able to accomplish whatever it is that you're looking to accomplish. We don't have to be underhanded. We don't have to break the law.
Use it for your benefit. It's meant to be a benefit if you use it correctly. And there are ways for it to fit, but you can't do it outside of that. You have to, and that's the reason why we're trying to help you to be proactive.
Here.
We're trying to help you to be proactive because there are ways that this can benefit you. It can fall and meet your qualifications and meet everything that you need.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey, listen, we know that this big, beautiful bill might be a game changer.
Is it a bill beautiful or is it a burden?
Is it a burden?
I think the jury is still out on that, right?
We shall see in the years to come. There are a lot of things to unpack, but stick with us because we want to make sure that you know the rules.
Yep. You don't want to have to wait for someone to explain it to you and how it affects you. Ask now.
Yeah.
Plan now.
Right.
Protect now.
Yeah.
We want you to do those three things. Ask now. Plan now.
That's good.
Protect now.
Protect now.
Right.
Ask now. Plan now. Protect now. Okay.
Right.
That's good. That's good. That's proactive. So we're gonna end here.
Yes.
And just encourage you to come back as we break it down. We're gonna talk about the big beautiful bill with student loans. We're gonna talk about it with real estate. We're gonna talk about it with whatever something is in it that's gonna affect you and you should know.
Yes.
So
the tax implications. We're gonna talk about that too. All of the tax implications.
This ain't just about policy, but it's about protecting your
power. It's about protecting. It's about your power and your peace of mind and your legacy.
I like that.
Yes.
I like that. All right. Well, Ericah and Urenia, we're going to sign out for another episode of Trust Issues. Be blessed.
Be blessed.
Okay.
You ain't changing your mind now, have you?
We're about to be one big happy family.
I'm just hoping I can trust you to return my love.
I mean, as much as I know how to love.
Did you sleep with him?
No! This is toxic.
Don't become the thing that hurt you
And what is that?
Bitterness.
I really needed you when Daddy died.
Girl, look, there you go with what you need. This not about you. Didn't you find God for that? I'm not here to meet your needs.
I understand that you love her. I get it. But like this, right here, this is toxic. Toxic? And who's you talking to like that?
And we're here at the Davidson High School for the first game of the season.
Look, I'm sorry, sir, but we will all run it for our lives.
Hope you enjoy being used, man.
Man, what? No. You better find someone else to play with, bro.
Come on. You both know you ain't about to hit nothing but a high note. You better sit down.
My Bible tells me that the wages of sin is death.
That's wages, honey, not wedges.
I know what it says, Miss Sunday School teacher.
I see that one is coming to the altar.
Now is the time.
Singing and praying with my mind.
Cut!
How you gonna cut singing and praying?
Hello, my name is Orlando Bogans, and I'm the biggest fan of WVTC, winning victory through Christ, Detroit.
This is WVTC Detroit, your award-winning gospel internet radio station. We're bringing you the best in gospel music, live shows, and inspiring interviews. Like and share our page on Facebook and YouTube. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay connected. Your support helps us spread positivity and encouragement throughout the community. So whether you download our WVTC app, visit our website at WVTCDetroit.com, or join us on Facebook or YouTube, you will stay connected and entertained. Join our WVTC Detroit listener family today and tell your friends about us. Together, we can make a difference. WVTC Detroit, where gospel meets the community. Go to your Apple or Google Play Store and download the WVTC Gospel Radio app today. You can also say, Alexa, play WVTC Radio Skills.
Would you like to play WVTC Radio Network?
Absolutely. Download it today.
You're listening to WVTC Gospel Radio Detroit, and we're flowing in the Spirit.